what would you grade the Pistons offseason so far?
Oh, I got raked over coals for this one when I did my grading process, because they're like, you gave that move a B? And I'm like, you do know what a B is, right? That means good. Overall, I would say I would get, and that's what I'm going to give their offseason. I'm going to give it like a solid B. Definitely not a B minus, but I'm going to give it a solid B. They made moves that made sense when you sit down and think about them. It would, just being fair, and I would say this if you even asked me, there were some moves that Troy Weaver had made in the offseason over the past couple of years that were some head scratchers. It was just like, okay, how does this help this team now? Like, okay, we know they're in a rebuild, but how does it help the rebuild? You're able to at least look at these moves and say, okay, you know what? Maybe they're not this 35-40 win team next year, but you're at least seeing guys that can come in and help out this squad, as from learning how to win, from helping them with their spacing, from helping them with how they approach the game, see things in the game. They brought in veterans to aid the development process, the improvement process, and they are not handicapped long-term. I think it's a B given all things considered. They didn't, in my opinion, they didn't overpay anybody. They didn't handicap themselves long-term. This is what fans were wanting to see over the past couple of years. Tangible moves to improve the team. I give it a B. Only way I would have said it would have been what would have gotten an A from me is if they were able to land an all-star caliber talent with those picks attached, and they didn't have to mortgage their future. That would have given me that would have been the A. But again, a B is good. A B is good, people. A B is okay. It's not it's not like I said C.
Yeah. I saw that on Twitter. Some Pistons fans kind of get a little bit reactionary to everything, and that's to be expected. They're passionate about the team. I didn't think a B was actually like a bad grade, kind of given like who they brought in. Trading for Tim Hardaway, getting Malik Beasley, signing Tobias Harris, picking up Paul Reed off waivers. I thought they had a pretty solid offseason, and all the moves that they made, I think, were sound decisions. To your point, there wasn't any head-scratching decisions like, wow, really? We went after that guy? I think Trajan's looking at the roster, and he mentioned it in his presser, saying, like, last year there were a lot of low IQ players, which was kind of like a sneak diss, by the way. Saying, like, I gotta get some players that are high IQ basketball players to help this team get out of the position that they're currently in. And I think when you get vets like a Beasley, like a Tobias, like a Tim Hardaway, they're going to help you try to get out of the position that you're currently in.
This is what you need. You need guys that are going to help you dig yourself out of this rut. I don't know. I'm really trying to rack my brain on looking at free agency and say, well, they should have made this move or they could have made this move. I'm trying to I rack my brain to try to find that move, and I can't think of one. And here's also the other thing that people that really need to realize when it comes to this free agency thing: it takes two to tango. You have to be able to. You got to have guys that want to be here. Yeah. And granted, they got Tim Hardaway at the trade. We know that, but they got Paul Reed off waivers. But when it comes to like a Harris and a Beasley, those guys had to want to be here. And the fact that you got both of those guys here on very very friendly deals for the Pistons and their financial flexibility moving forward, it's a major get. And you're now, what you're going to see is when you go to Little Caesars Arena and you watch a Pistons game, I believe under JB Bickerstaff and the veterans they have in the room, you're now going to see. I almost said something that I shouldn't have said. You're going to see. I don't want to say quality basketball. You're going to at least see something that resembles competent basketball. I
Yeah.
think that it's arguable with all of the changes, all of the injuries they dealt with last season, all of the uncertainty and inconsistency. It's arguable to say whether it was a competent basketball product put out on the floor. You're seeing that right now with the move that Langdon has made, and also too, which is really rare sometimes. Langdon has done so far everything that he said he was going to do. Now, whether that turns out to be turns out to be a winning product or not, that remains to be seen. But you can at least see that he's done everything that he said he was going to do in his first, so many days as president of the organization, and this feels like a different coat of paint for this Piston season coming in. You're not going in wondering like, okay, you're hoping for some magical turnaround, some type of magical ride. No, they're not selling that. They're selling like, hey, we're not taking any shortcuts. This is going to be a true process, and we're not going to skip any steps. And we brought in what we feel is needed to at least get the ball rolling. Everything else, as far as an acquiring, fixing the defense, acquiring all-star caliber talent, maybe that's a part of the plan. But right now, they addressed what they were able to address, and they did a damn good job of doing it.
Yeah, I agree. I know me and you haven't talked about Langdon or even JB Bickerstaff for that matter, but to your point, it feels different. The vibes feel different. The players seem happy. Not to say that the players weren't showing up to Summer League last year. They were. But
yeah,
the veterans are out there. They're doing interviews, obviously, with ESPN and all the other NBA TV, the companies that are broadcasting these games. But it feels different, and I'm not trying to sell fans that this is going to go from 14 to 45 wins overnight. I think there's a process and there's baby steps that they have to take to get to that point. But I think last year the Pistons were on the freeway and they missed the exit. I think Langdon has got them back on the right track and got them on the freeway to the destination they're trying to get to.
Absolutely. I believe that right now Langdon to me right now, and this is just you could call it a very lazy comparison. I do not care. I believe Langdon is operating right now with the Pistons early on the same way that Brad Holmes operated with the Detroit Lions. He's not jumping off the deep end. He's not trying to put a band-aid on something. He just made smart, small, tangible moves to at least get the ball rolling on creating an identity, establishing a culture.